Something exciting happened today.
No
This
kidding.
YouTuber reviewer who's reviewed a couple of my films made a video just for me and Burnt Mill, and and he made a painting of the fisherman that he's been working on for the last like 2 weeks. It's this giant painting that was inspired by. You ever seen Conjuring 2?
Maybe.
There's this scene with this nun. Any horror fans out there would recognize it, where it's like this painting of this nun that then charges the main character, Vera Farmiga. And this kid made this painting. He's fucking talented, dude. It's really good and really scary. And he wants it to be a part of our shorts. And I've been searching for this idea of what I would do for Fisherman Part 2. And bro, the painting is like now going to be the core of this film. It's like our art is now inspiring other people to make their own art. It's really dope.
Art, inspiring art.
That's deep.
Yes.
Makes you think.
Quite meta. Wow, look at that. That's awesome. How is his review as well?
He dug it, bro.
It's big. So much so that it inspired him. Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
He hated it, and then he spent 2 weeks making a painting.
To express his hate towards it.
Yes.
Naturally.
Exactly.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, congrats for one.
Thank you. You're working on this Lifetime movie.
Yes, back to me. I am.
Well, bro, you're in the middle of it. You
Yeah.
already shoot your first day? Was that today?
I did. Today was my second day. First day was the other day.
What's it like to be on a real movie set?
On the big time, the big
Are there
big
trailers?
my lifetime life.
Are there these pompous actors?
Oh yeah, these riffraff
Divas?
kind of expositional trailers that aren't really necessary.
Love it. You
all
got your
that
own trailer?
fat that you trim off. No, it wasn't even that much. No,
Soon. Very soon.
actually, like, there's a lot to take away from this, but I've done a movie with this director before, and he works so fast. It's
One take wonders.
one take wonders.
He's
And
like Clint Eastwood.
Is
Just
that
get it done?
him? Dude, this guy like is so funny. I mean, I forgot how it was in the last thing that I did with him, but you get in there, you might have to wait for like an hour. Literally, my scene on the first day was one of the last scenes we were gonna shoot, and I expected to wait for 6 hours or something. Because I get there, I'm like, call time's at like 10, which isn't a bad call time, and I'm like, I'm gonna be there forever.
Yeah, hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait, as Hollywood does. And I get there and I'm like, you know what? I should probably start looking over my lines, because I know that's the one like cardinal rule for this guy is like he works so fast. He doesn't do many takes. You gotta be word.
He's like Tarantino. If he hires you to act on his project, you better fucking know your lines.
Better know your lines. Which like I respect so much with this type of thing, because it's so technical. There's so many moving parts that like once you get in your spots and stuff, you're gonna forget them in 2 seconds anyway. And like you're gonna have to work out like to make it feel real and come to life and make sense. And it always kind of is a little like awkward at first and stuff. So you gotta like kind of work through and be able to rehearse as they're setting up lights, as they're doing all this stuff. So I remember just the first day I was like, all right, just make sure that I just kept running my lines, kept running. And then did it. And my first scenes were like some of my most climactic in the whole movie. You go right in and
real emotional.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm literally at the detectives, in the crime room with like the, two-sided mirror and stuff, and I'm like in there and they're interrogating me and saying,
Are you
like,
a murderer? What's your character?
I'm the son of the murderer.
Got you.
And at this point, I just think that they just came to my home and said, okay, we just saw you on a surveillance video getting in a fight with a guy that was just murdered, and you said you didn't tell us this, so we needed to have you talk down to the station. So I come in and we go through it and stuff. And it is really, really good. And The biggest thing first day was it's so fun. Just first of all, what did enter my mind was it reminded me of working on your movies of like, okay, so nice that I've gotten that experience lately to be on set with Jacob and doing this stuff and bringing it to life and something that's like super just so clear what we're going for when I work with you. Like it's so obvious what the point of the story is, what we're doing. We always know what we're doing. You never feel like you're acting. You're just coming up with fun stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and then this, when there's so many lines like this and it's intricate and there's like all this context and stuff, I think on the bad side of it, it can feel like you're holding on to lines, you're doing all this crap, but when it's its best, it's feeling the same exact feeling that I felt on your stuff, which
Yeah,
is just
exactly. Yeah.
you're finding the life to it. Which, by the way, on your feature, same thing. You know, you're finding these little different colors and you're making it feel real and staying in the pocket. You can't like. So then today I go in and I have a scene with the guy I haven't met yet, older guy, and we're supposed to get in a fight. It's his first scene shooting the whole thing.
Right.
And he's my real estate. He's the guy that ends up dying in it. And we get in a fight because I confront him at his office at nighttime. And it looks bad for me. And so we do it a couple times beforehand or whatever. This guy is so good though. I can tell, and he's like a big actor from a while back. He's probably in his 40s. And he I guess he took a break, but you can just tell when this guy starts doing it, he's very intense. He just has like an energy. He's very like you like good actors. You don't know what they're gonna do next in a very, you know, when it calls for that, it's great.
And when you feel that, especially because it's the first time that you're meeting him, don't you feel like you naturally want to just rise up to his level? It's like you then mold around. Yeah.
In fact, to the point of I thought about this, it exposes you because first of all, when you look at him or whatever, he's really like in the like how it would be, it feels real. And then you're like, oh shit, I have nowhere to hide other than truly just like kind of reacting how it would be for these guys for real. Like you can't hide anywhere. You can't hold on to your idea and have a false moment of like, oh, I tried this before. And then if you do have a false moment, you got to concentrate and just move on to what he's saying and really be real and present.
Yeah.
Or
I'd be
else,
fascinated to see you on a set like that because I feel like your natural default, and this is a compliment, I feel like you're a very
Yeah.
chill guy. That's why we
Totally.
get along. You're just very
Yeah.
even keel and just chill and like laid
Yep.
back, whatever. But and those are all the characters that I've given you too. It's just these more like
Which
kind
I've
of chilled, laid back
asked for
characters.
and hoped for. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would love to just be a fly on the wall on a set like that, where it's
I
like you got this super fucking intense actor, and then I see Duke then rising up to that level of intensity. It like brings out this full different range from you that I haven't really seen.
I'm so appreciative of it. And I'm appreciative of all of it. I mean, the comedy stuff for me for a long time wasn't as easy for one. And then now, like something like this, like I go in and actually what it ends up being is, yeah, for a second, like the director has definitely given me like some recommendations on how to be more badass. I will say that. Like he was like, okay, for your one point when you come in, he's like, don't like come in like a little kid like pleading, which honestly kind of was like my default. Even though I was like acting tough, but he's like literally just come in and fuck like just kind of like be suspicious, like be like you're hiding it underneath. You know, we're just getting
Bro, that was crazy. That like 5 seconds I just saw from you of moving from this one place to this other place, that's the exact range, you know?
it is.
You see
It is. And it's you know, it's fun to explore. It's not gonna always come easily. I don't think that's the thing. I don't think they're doing this in the bad acting classes. And I told my buddy Harrison this too. Like the North Star in the bad acting classes, the compass is so off from what I'm experiencing on these intricate film sets. And by the way,
Right.
this is like a Hallmark Lifetime movie. This is this is not James Cameron or whatever, or you know, Safdie brothers. But the difference is like here, and even the scene that like when I just got there and I saw them filming a cop scene where they're arresting someone, it just the stakes are high. Like it seems real. Like they're capturing this stuff for real. Everyone's on their voices. It's intense. You have this, you know, you got to capture it. Whereas like in these bad acting classes, they can blow smoke around and like kind of just listen to themselves talk and they're not focusing on make it seem as real as possible. And that could be with one line. It doesn't have to be a long scene. It doesn't have to be a play. It doesn't matter what type of art form you're trying to capture. It's just the North Star has got to be, hey, how do we make this the best, most interesting, real thing possible?
Right. And this range is also available. It's accessible to every single actor, meaning like when I say default, I mean it's your default because like whatever your background is, with how you were raised, the environment that you came up in, the peers who surrounded you, that all
Your brand,
your
what
brand, all that shit.
Yeah. And that's the
Bro,
fun thing. What we talk about, I think, for a lot of actors that are going to last is in the Pacinos and Dustin Hoffmans, they've reinvented themselves
exactly.
so many times. People get an idea of them as this, and then De Niro goes and does Meet the Parents, and he has such a different energy. That's, we think, a colorful acting. I think it's fun to do that too. And by the way, it's not rocket science. Like this guy today, the director, he's like, Duke, I want you to like literally come in and not have to do anything. And you're thinking, you're literally, and I thought to myself, okay, it's a challenge. I'm at the point where I actually have fun trying to figure out how it would be in real life. I'm like, when I'm a badass and I'm coming in and I gotta like tell this guy off, when you're in that moment, you gotta think fast. You gotta think, you gotta put this guy on the back.
And you gotta have your lines down really well.
It goes without saying.
That's the most important thing.
Your lines, which like I always am, like for what it's worth, like it's so easy to say that you're not gonna have to, but I got my call time last night of what scenes we're gonna be shooting today. And this scene, I might not have prepared it immediately necessarily either. So like I had it sort of down and it wasn't that many lines, but like, so when I get there, I'm still going over him. And then this guy's so good though. And it's so flowy when you're with him. And it's so like, you have to genuinely be engaged, concentrating with whatever's happening and focused on each thing. You can't be like phased by a line that you said or anything. And, so you kind of have to forget about the lines.
Yeah.
Try to, and then just have fun. Like remember to just try to have fun and
be in the
remember all the technical points, point A, point B, point C, but then also, you get little spouts of excitement too, and you're like, oh, we nailed this, we nailed this, we nailed this. Then you're flowing, and then hopefully, you keep practicing, you keep working, you do another rehearsal or whatever, and it's like, oh, we got through it, but now I'm still holding on. And then finally, fortunately by like kind of my close up and stuff, we were, it felt like, you're focused in each moment. You're really just working off what the guy just gave you and trying to be real to that. And you're getting little ideas of how to act and stuff, but just trying to stay in the psychology of the story as much as you can. And I'm telling myself, I got my little mantras, like, come on, make this as good as possible, make this as good as possible. And, yeah, dude, the guy was so kind. All of our fight choreography stuff, just so smooth, so easy. We looked back at the playback afterwards, and it's supposed to be surveillance footage, which also took the pressure off for me a little bit with the acting, because I knew like it's literally just going to be like shot from above sort of. And like,
yeah, what's great about that too, like you don't have a camera stuffed in your face and like a microphone.
Yeah.
All that shit.
Like we did, just in case. I don't know if they'll end up using it. Like we had sort of close-ups, but I just knew that like at the end of the day, this was just, I knew really the point of this scene, what it was. So that kind of took the pressure off the little details. But we watched it and we nailed it. We nailed every little beat. And that's how it goes on movies, isn't it? Like when you go into a scene, it's like you make sure you nail the choreography of it first, like especially if it's technical. It's like, okay, make sure they hit their marks, that the story is told, even if it's robotic on the first round. And then you get into the, hey, are the moments popping and colorful and real? And yeah, this actor that I'm acting with, it's like you feel like you really have to be real. And he's got this energy that I was telling Harrison about too, like these people that are big actors at one point or another, even if they're quote washed up or whatever, whether it's Charlie Sheen, whether it's Eric Roberts, we were talking about today, Julie Roberts' brother, who was a star back in the 80s, and then he kind of had a drug problem, all this and stuff, but now he's basically on all these Lifetime movies. He was in an Entourage, but he's so talented. He always stands out. He's so warm and charming and funny, such a character. When you get with these people, they know how to be interesting. They know how to get, that's why I find it like if you were doing your best work to do a soap opera, to get writing that was written the day before and then still have to forget about the script, and you have to make it a moment worth watching. Like what's an interesting psychology going on there that's gonna like bring people in. You got to know how to work with a guy like that. So he's, just intense. You don't know. And by the way, so a couple of my pointers, sorry, I'm going on forever. I thought what my dad's told me in commonsensical stuff, he's like, especially with stuff like this, don't know what you're going to say next. Try to make it so that you're doing the opposite of holding on your lines. Don't know. And what I think of when I hear that too, you still have to know the point of the scene of what your character is trying to do in that moment, what they want. They say in acting class, like I'm going in because this guy screwed up my mother's real estate contract. And, in addition to a couple other things they did that are so shady, like I got, this is the last shot. And then what am I expecting? That's kind of like the thematic stuff that I keep in mind. And then I think about that a little bit before I start the scene. But then after that, it's like, basically you just do an impression. What does it feel like to be pissed at this guy? But then again, I'm trying to surprise him like you would be doing in real life in that moment. When you're about to confront someone, you don't want to be like a corny robot that's like easy to predict. You want to have the last laugh or be interesting or something, you want to engage. And so I'm just trying to get into that. That's my piece.
It doesn't surprise me that there's a seasoned, really professional guy who raises everyone's standards on a Lifetime movie. Like that ecosystem, it has such a negative rap, but like I'm sure there are people who've been in the business for years, like decades, and they're then now on this movie with you. And it's like those are the best kinds of experiences because it really it forces you to match them and match their energy. The only reason why I want to be successful, it has nothing to do with anything besides the peers that I'm going to be able to work with. With. Because
I talk about that a lot too. Yeah.
The reason I'd want to work with Leo is because he's been on film set since he was fucking 4, So
but I think what you're getting at too is that it's not limited to just the people that are in those giant studio movies. Like the idea of working with people.
It's just really the mileage that they've had. It's like there's that whole thing of like, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. If you get a chance to be in company of people who, regardless of if they've had the pedigree or whatever, but if they've logged the mileage of being on sets for years and decades, it's like, that just makes you better. It forces you to be better because otherwise you're just going to feel like a fucking dumbass because you're not matching them at that level. Just naturally as humans, we tend to, whatever group we're in, we tend to match their energy.
Right.
So if you're acting with this other guy who's really seasoned, he has all this experience, it's like, bro, you're going to be so much better prepared now for the next project that you take on because you worked with him.
It's fantastic. And by the way, like it's nothing different than what you and I, and like, remember, like we were shooting with Laura and Laura just like, she's just so natural. Like when she like really got into it and we're both like, whoa, we gotta, can't false moment. Like, we're working with someone that's like really spontaneous and interesting and it feels real.
Yeah.
It's all that same stuff, but it's fun for me to talk about because like in some bad acting classes, it's easy when you're just doing like a play or some of this or some of that to like just get into stuff that doesn't really raise the standard. And like you said, it's great to work with talented people. There's always exceptions, even people that have worked forever and stuff, they get on something and they really just blank out and they don't. But I'm finding most of the vets that I work with, the veterans, like if they're on something, a short film or something, they know that they're supposed to engage. Like that's a big thing, which I would imagine translates to any other business too. If you take that same skill and you really engage and you work hard and concentrate, you're going to be successful.
There's nothing more inspiring to me than someone who really gives a shit about what they're doing. It's like when you see someone on set, bro, even like cinematographer, like when they're really busting their ass and they're setting up the shots and putting on the lens and really focus and asking questions and trying to, like, if I have a shot list,
how to make it better, how to help people, literally, and like being a sponge.
Exactly, bro. And I feel it on my sets too. Even if there's one player that is really intense and really in it, regardless if it's like crew or even sound guy, whatever, if they're really trying to do the best job they can possibly do, the entire energy of the set changes. And it's like, bro, there's no better feeling that I have. And also, as director, it is my responsibility to set that
It
energy.
is. But I
And
think it should be all of ours. I think even if you're just
100%. That's just true, bro. And that makes my job way easier. But I do take it upon myself, and not like, I felt it too. Like, if there is one scene that I'm working on and it's really fucking late, it's like 2 a.m., but I'm really hyper focused on exactly the vision that I want. And I'm directing everyone, and like, I'm being really positive about it, but we got to get it done. Everyone tends to get on the same page. And it's like, once we then accomplish that final shot, the everyone feels like they've accomplished this giant thing, because they've all worked their asses off to do the best possible job that they can on this one shot. And that's like, that is the thing that I love most about this, is when all of those pieces come into play. It's like this giant dance that you got to have everything in perfect sync. And once you get that and you land that perfect shot, there isn't any better feeling in life.
It's pretty great. It's not too different though than me being at the Rose Cafe the other night. And
Oh, is that right?
yeah, just like working balls to the wall for like 5 hours, or 6 or whatever. And then you get done. And I just remember thinking like, dude, I just like, or we were only 3 of us. We were only 3 runners, and it's busy and packed. And we're just like, you just don't put your head down for 6 hours, and you have to constantly be thinking, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? How can I help for 6 hours? And it's not just when you're a kid, you can get away with doing fake help, but like when you're on a real job, you gotta do something that they taught me at the car dealership. Like the first day, they're like, you gotta get inside the mind of the customer.
You worked at a car dealership?
Have we not talked about this?
Nah, man. When was that?
Dude, that was right before the pandemic started. I
You
quit
selling cars?
selling cars.
Used cars?
I freaking wish. In Duke of the Valley, I work at a used car, but we only got that idea because I worked at Culver City Volvo, and
Dude,
yeah,
that's wild.
yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I gotta pick your brain more on that later, but for
Sure.
now, it's true, bro. Because I feel I think the reason why I love it so much, when I see someone who's in it, and yeah, dude, like you're saying, like I was at Ralph's, this grocery store, like yesterday, and the cashier that I had at 9 p.m. was like she was like, how's your day going? And really like enthusiastic. And I'm like, yo, like your energy and your vibe, it is infectious. It doesn't fucking matter what it's like. I think
You got to try to do that too. I don't think it just comes naturally. Yeah.
No, man. And that's why it's so impressive, because most people don't do that. Most people are just kind of going by life, and
It's human to just flounder around. Yeah, I think
finding shortcuts. And I think there are areas in your life, like you can't be on all the time. I think you need to pick the things that are really important to you and then be on for those moments. And if you are and you show up, it's like your own self-concept and self-confidence. It's like this quiet confidence that you have, because you can look yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, I really did my best.
Put it in. I want to touch on that a little bit, because I love the psychology aspect, because I feel like I'm very fortunate to have been given this information. Sort of, I read a lot of like self-help stuff and everything. I think it's a balance of, you have a spirit of excellence, which meaning that like you're not just working under people on these things, you're working to like do your absolute best work. But then also, which you might not get there, but the idea is you have that goal in your mind, or that North Star. And then but the caveat is, I also want to get off the hamster wheel too. I also need to stay at peace. And I know that in order for me to have my balance and my right up there, right with doing my best work, is also staying at peace. That's another category. So even when I'm doing my best work, I still need to say like, okay, I don't need this. I'm not making this an idol. I'm not, using this to cover up a hole in my life. Peace, love are my number ones, and live, laugh, love. You got to laugh. You got to laugh through it all, Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to head a little more in that direction. Definitely not there yet, but yeah, I agree, dude.
I think it's every day. I tell myself this stuff that my roommate needs to hear this too, but Harrison, but I tell myself nothing that happens today is going to get under my skin. Nothing that happens, and that means that hopefully, I'm putting that out for the universe. I'm, that it'll just hear that, but also like that's a motivation for me to like hopefully it gets lodged in there. When something happens, and be like, oh, taking the high road, taking the high road, and then and but then you still stay focused and you laugh. You gotta freaking laugh because
It's
that's
true, bro. On the flip side of that, though, too, I will say like the hustle side of it and the discipline, like the David Goggins mentality of it all, is like when you do something really hard. Like, bro, when I shot a short this past Sunday and it was a properly set up short and we finished at 2 a.m. And when I'm driving home, that feeling, it's like the pure joy of that comes from that. It only lasts like maybe 20 minutes, but it is such a fucking high. And like,
I mean,
I
yeah.
agree with you that you need this balance, but at the same time, it isn't always like this because there are moments that like if you really hustle, and obviously you can't be like this the entire time, but if you sculpt out those moments when you get on the downward side of it, it's like then I really enjoy relaxation. It's like Joe Rogan says he enjoys the shit out of just sitting down and watching TV, which he does like very rarely. But like when he does, he enjoys the shit out of it because he's like he's hustling, you know? And so
You're talking a little bit about like the outside, and I can't disagree with any of that stuff. Like life happens. You do these things. I'm more talking about like if you're setting kind of an overall energy of what you want to put out there in general. Then after that, life happens and you have to just swim to the end.
right.
You know, you have to make sure that you get through all this stuff. Like if you're doing a short film, I'm not going to stop just to keep my peace, you know, but the point is that even when you're hustling, when you're going hard, I could be at the roads and I'm telling myself that, hey, even when I'm like going crazy, it's just like, don't buy into all the crap all the time. You know?
I just saw this short clip where De Niro was at this round table and he was talking about how like someone asked him the question, it's like Hollywood Reporter, they asked him what advice he'd give to someone who wants longevity in Hollywood. And he said to just
I don't
stay
know. Work with Scorsese. I don't know. I don't know.
great. Brilliant. He's more like chill now, but yeah, that's like very 80s De Niro. He
Talking to me. Hey. All right, go on.
he said that just stay calm. Stay calm. Like as in when you're reaching those highs and those peaks of like your career where like you've always hoped and you dreamed to be, don't like really fully buy the bullshit because everyone is dispensable and he's seen people come and go and come and go.
Yep.
And he just has figured that like, and you see it with his whole energy. He does seem at peace. And he does have these like this career is very unpredictable, but
sure,
when
dude.
he's
My
hot,
parents seen the craziest shit happen. You gotta also, I tell myself, hey, when I get big, no matter what happens,
yeah,
I have to work harder to stay humble. You are no better than any other person. You are no worse. That's important for me.
I think you having a firsthand look at like, and also I'm not talking about your parents in terms of like comparing them to like whatever, like more successful actors. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, because every single actor has these periods where they're hot and then they're not as hot. And it's like you having like a firsthand look at what a career of an actor is like is really helpful for yourself. Because it's like if you came from middle of nowhere and your parents don't, I'm basically talking about myself, your parents aren't in the industry, they have no fucking idea or context to give you, but you've had this firsthand look of like, wow, like there are all these peaks and valleys that's like
I think that's life too, though.
A part of it. Also true. Yeah.
But totally. What you said is valid. But you know, I've seen their sort of aspects about that and they handle it amazingly, but still, I mean, I think every generation we have a responsibility to do better than our parents, even mentally, even we have these skills that they pass down, but also best things that they pass down also is like, hey, invest in your happiness and your mindfulness and stuff. So
that's really true, dude. Generationally, it's like we do have, I like how you said it's like a responsibility. It is
opportunity. Yeah.
Opportunity. Yeah. And
you know, my dad's parents didn't talk at all about stuff growing up. They didn't give him any advice other than like, oh, you're in Florida, you got to go see this racetrack. It's the best horse racetrack you can go to in Miami. Yeah. So my dad always followed. I'm sure. I mean, my grandparents led by incredible example, but then you know our parents talked to us a bit more about stuff like that. My mom was like a life coach and stuff. So yeah, of course.
There's this part where you're like fledgling, like you have no idea what the fuck's going on in your life, in your early 20s. And I'm really like talking about being at peace. I'm really at peace at this place that I am. Like you
Yeah.
seem to pretty much like obviously we can always like improve. We always have goals that we can go
Yes.
for whatever. But we both kind of seem like we have it together. We have an idea of like we
Appreciate
have
that.
the context by this point.
We
Of
have the context by this point.
like,
I'm glad you say that for yourself. I definitely feel that way as well. I'm so fortunate. Last
yeah,
couple years, yeah, I kind of know
it's
what I
recent.
feel like the path, like not even the path career wise, but the path of like how I want to my my well-being is shaped. No
Yeah.
matter what happens, I kind of have my like uh peace in life, how to stay at
Mhm.
peace. Yeah.
It's horrifying the like just thinking back to like early 20s, like literally not only being able to see this far in front of you. And it's like you
Yeah.
just learn, you learn by all this experience and you do realize that like there might be hard days or whatever, but it's like it all does just balance out and it becomes even keeled.
It's amazing to hear you say that too. Yeah. It's funny. I was back to like a show business thing. I mean, dude, I was thinking about like a couple years ago what I would have been like straight out of Bristol Old Vic or whatever, where I kind of felt psyched out of acting, like how I would have been going to a movie set the morning of the shoot, and I would have been a freaking mess. Like I would have been
Yeah.
not knowing what I wanted to accomplish, whatever. I would have, learned my lines and stuff, but and I always kind of like lucked into being fine, but uh like it's whereas like now I know, I'm excited. Like I'm so excited to like get in there and just
Mhm.
flex.
I've heard too, if you get all your dreams, like if they all come true too early, it's more of a curse than a blessing because you're not prepared for it. You don't have the experience behind you. And like it'll
Totally.
be a curse because you end up just kind of fucking yourself over because you don't have that experience to deal with stuff. And I've found through all of these sets that I've done, all of the shorts I've been able to do, and like these couple features, you learn. And I'm so grateful like I wasn't thrust
Yeah.
onto a studio project too early on because
Yeah.
there are all these things that you do learn. Like if an
It's
actor, yeah, dude, if an actor doesn't show up, like I've dealt with that. If
yeah.
if
Wow.
makeup like walks out in the middle of it, I've dealt with that. There are all these things that you just learn along the journey.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. No, we both have really good opportunities. It's, why not? We have the goals, see at the finish line.
Yes,
And
sir.
when you get big, when you get there, like crap still happens.
Mm-hmm.
Big stuff still happens, and you just have to outlast it. I know that, hey, even if something's not satisfying when I get it, I'm just gonna keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna keep going. That's okay too. This is all kind of just gravy anyway.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. All of this uphill, like the trials also, it makes it all worth it. Like you look back in the rearview mirror and you're like, holy shit. Like it just gives you it makes it mean more. If you've had to go through more shit, it like the whole thing, this whole entire thing that we're going for, the dream,
Yeah,
it's
agree.
like it means more at the end of the day.
Does, but I'm also saying like just a self-help reminder too. Like even as we're going for it, the goals are even gravy. Like at the end of the day,
True.
life could be over tomorrow. Is a scary reality, and the actual important stuff is literally just like what's right in front of you. And being at ease. I don't want to say that's the actual important stuff because our goals and our dreams are important too. But it's like
Mhm.
uh there's just a lot of aspects to living.
Also, this is all the same shit. When we make it, quote unquote, we're doing the same exact shit that we are now. Everything, the feeling of being on it. Like I talked to this guy who had the opportunity to do a horror studio feature, and he told me, like, once you get past all of the trailers and all like the bullshit, and you're there with the camera, it's literally the exact same fucking dance
Storytelling.
we're doing now. So we are living the dream now. It's just like at a different scale. And with that also comes more pressure and all this extra shit. So it's like just
Yeah,
focus
I
in and
mean,
enjoy your
let's
time.
let's be real. Like you have a bigger stage, so you get to reach more people. You get to work with like really high bar.
Yeah.
Now you'll probably be more used to it by that point too. But
You get
uh
more toys.
you get
You
more
get to
toys.
play with cranes and dope
Yeah.
sets.
You get to meet. I mean, I don't know. I was listening to the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia guys today talk about like kind of the negative aspects about being a celebrity, and I kind of called bullshit. I'm like, dude, you get like recognition for stuff, and everyone's fighting for that spot. It's got to feel pretty nice. And then once they kind of start talking about like random examples and stuff, they start realizing themselves, like, oh no, it's, I mean, I'm not complaining, but like, so it's just funny to me. Like everything's a blessing and a curse, just the way it is.
Totally.
Anyway, how's the rest of your week looking, big dog? You doing another short this weekend?
I'm actually heading to East Coast. We're going to keep the pod going, but I'm going to be over there for next 3 weeks. I am taking my camcorder, a couple masks. Yeah, man, I'm just hanging with some fam. And we're going to, what's going to be dope is like talking about locations, man. East Coast, it's like the locations you have at your disposal are fucking insane. And that's
House on the lake. I mean, that was the inspiration for When a Stranger Calls, and
classic.
Lady in White, The Fog, The Mist, The Ring.
Different films. Yeah.
Yes, the original reboots, right back to back. They just slight difference in names, but basic same thing. Anything you've been watching lately that's interesting? I'm still on that Tokyo Vice and Showtime Winning Time Lakers show.
Tokyo Vice?
You don't know it?
No.
Oh, Jacob.
This is why I'm here.
This is why I learn and take orders. Tokyo Vice.
Did I tell you about, not to interrupt,
sure.
I heard there was this horror movie called Fresh. Have you seen that? And have I wrecked that yet or no?
No.
Yeah, dude, one of the best horror films, like new ones that I've seen. It's about this girl can't find good dates. She gets with this guy on like Tinder, and he invites her back to his place, and he ends up being like this guy who sells like meat to cannibals, and so he's about to like cannibalize her. It's dope.
That does sound pretty interesting, actually. What?
But go ahead with yours.
Wait, where can I find Fresh?
I'm pretty sure it's Hulu.
Okay. Tokyo Vice is like on HBO Max. It's the first true story. It's the first like non-Japanese journalist working in the Japanese national newspaper. And it's a story about his trials and tribulations over there. He's just like obsessed with Japanese culture. He's like in his 20s, played by that guy, Ansel Elgort. And
your favorite.
Yes, my beginning, middle, and end.
Your muse. Your beginning, middle, and end.
Whatever that means. No, Ansel Elgort, gotta hand it to him. It's a great part. And like,
do you think you have a similar vibe? Is that why you dig him, or?
I don't particularly dig him. I don't think I've talked about him.
You definitely mentioned him at least once. No,
because what else has he been? I saw him in like Baby Driver. He's always like he can act, of course.
Yeah.
He's fine, and he definitely looks like he come from that like model background. He's like, this is a huge compliment. He's like a cross between Keanu Reeves and Val Kilmer. But there's a ton of people that fit that listing description. Anyway.
Yeah, we should wrap soon. It's going to close us out. Go ahead.
Tokyo Vice on HBO Max, bro. The first episode you watch it, slightly cliche, maybe a little bit, but it's just like, it's pretty badass.
Hell yeah. I'll
check it out. Winning Time, about the Lakers. You haven't seen that? People don't like it that much, but I'm pretty into it.
1 rec per week.
That's true.
Tokyo Vice, then we'll move.
Great point. I lost my head a little bit there.
All right, brother. I'll call you from the East next week. In the meantime,
sounds great, buddy.
Yeah, close out this Lifetime movie, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Good. Yeah, look forward to.
You got a podcast to post too.
Yep. I'll text you about that.
Okay.
Hey, buddy.
So, all right, man. Later.